Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Sumo fans! I'm Vini and this is Sumo Files. And my friends, today's the day to talk about the official Banzuke for the March 2026 tournament. But before we get into it, I have two things to say. First, I spent the entire last week dealing with a pretty bad flu, so my voice is still a bit off. Second, the channel now has a membership club. That's right, guys! I set a very symbolic price so it wouldn't hurt your pockets but would still help the channel stay healthy and keep growing. So if you're able to support, just know I'll be extremely grateful. Now, without further ado, let's get into the rankings. At the very top, as has been the case for a while now, nothing changes. Hoshoryu and Onosato remain our Yokozuna. However, since we haven't had absolutely any updates regarding their health, it's hard to properly analyze them. Both competed in special events such as Takanosho's retirement ceremony, the NHK Welfare Grand Sumo Tournament and the Japan Grand Sumo Tournament, which Hoshoryu actually won. But none of these were official competitions, and obviously everyone was holding back. For that reason, I can't really say whether the Yokozuna will compete in March, as I genuinely have no idea about the current state of Hoshoryu's meniscus or Onosato's shoulder. Moving on, right below them we have the Ozeki Aonishiki and Kotozakura. It's been a while since the Sadogatake man has done more than fight to secure his Kachikoshi, which he once again managed in January after starting strong but fading towards the end. Honestly, it's difficult to say whether he'll look any different in March. Now, if there's one Ozeki highly motivated to make a huge statement, it's Aonishiki. The Ajigawa representative is the reigning back-to-back Emperor's Cup champion and enters this tournament aiming for Yokozuna promotion. As I explained in detail in another video, winning the tournament would seal the deal, while a runner-up finish would make things more uncertain, requiring something extremely convincing for the Yokozuna Deliberation Council to approve it. Right after then, we find Kirishima and Takayasu as Sekiwake. The spotlight here goes to the Otowayama man, as JSA director Takadagawa Oyakata stated that he could be in line for Ozeki promotion with an outstanding performance. In other words, a championship, or at least a very strong runner-up result. At Komusubi, we have Wakamoto Haru holding his rank after that miraculous Kachikoshi on the final day of the Basho, and finally the only change within the Sanyaku, Atamifuji. The Segahama wrestler had a fantastic campaign last tournament, finishing as runner-up with 2 Kimboshi and a Kanto Sho. Thanks to that performance, he jumps from maegashira 4 to Komusubi, the highest rank of his career. And now it's time to talk about the maegashira, where most of the movement happens. Yoshinofuji remains at maegashira 1 after his Kachikoshi. So yeah, all that media talk about him becoming a Komusubi with a winning record seems to have been just rumors, since not even 2 Kimboshi and a Shukunsho were enough to push him up. Alongside him is Wakatakakage, who climbs 1 spot and will try to return to the Sanyaku ranks. At maegashira 2, we see the big rise of Fujinokawa. The Senoumi wrestler went 10-5 in January and jumps 5 positions to reach the highest rank of his career. This is a major milestone, as it marks the beginning of his clashes against the Sanyaku. Joining him is Shuranoumi, who also proved himself last tournament and climbs 3 spots to achieve his career best ranking. At maegashira 3, we have 1 rise and 1 fall. Hiradoumi moves up 3 positions thanks to his 9 wins, while Wonho, after finishing 4th and 11, is pushed out of the Sanyaku. Moving to maegashira 4, we see Daieisho holding his spot after a simple Makekoshi and a big surprise in Takanosho. Despite 10 losses, a number that usually sends wrestlers plummeting, drops only 1 position. I have to admit, I didn't quite understand the criteria here. 10 losses is a heavy number, even if many of them came against Sanyaku opponents. Maegashira 5 brings Abi, who jumps an incredible 7 positions after being one of the main title contenders in January. Alongside him is Koto Shoho, who with 9 wins, including 1 over Abi, climbs 5 spots. At maegashira 6, we see a significant drop. Ichiyamamoto slides 5 positions after a 4th and 11th finish. The real surprise though is Onokatsu, Onokatsu, who remains at maegashira 6 for the 4th straight tournament despite 3 consecutive makekoshi. I honestly don't even know what to say anymore. At this point, it almost feels like he has immunity. After all, even with 2 of his 7 wins coming by Fusen, the JSA still chose to keep him there. Maegashira 7 features Oshoma and Takanosho. The Naruto stable wrestler holds his rank after a 7 and 8, while the Segahama man drops 4 spots after withdrawing due to a left foot injury. Takanosho's situation is genuinely concerning. Although he fought cautiously at the NHK Welfare Grand Sumo tournament, his participation in March remains uncertain. At maegashira 8, we find Jura, who falls 6 positions after a disastrous 4-11, and Shodai, who stays put after a simple makekoshi. Maegashira 9 brings a small rise and a big fall. Toki Hayate reaches the highest rank of his career after a straightforward kachikoshi, while Tamawashi drops 4 spots following 10 losses. It is important to mention that this is the Kataunami veteran's 99th tournament in the top division, tying him with Kyoku Tenho for 3rd place on the record list. Konoyama and Roga make up maegashira 10, both went 7 and 8 and each fall exactly 1 position, staying together 1 rank lower. At maegashira 11, we see Shishi returning to the best rank of his career and looking to break through that ceiling. Alongside him is Oshomi, who after 10 wins in January climbs to the highest rank of his professional career. Maegashira 12 features 2 Takasago stablemates, Asakoryu, who moves up 3 spots after 9 wins, and Asanoyama, who climbs 4 with the same record. Maegashira 13 introduces the first newcomer to the Makuuchi division, Fuji Seiyun. After an excellent 11 and 4 as Juryo 1, which earned him the division's runner-up spot, he makes his top division debut. Alongside him, the veteran Tobizaru holds his rank after a makekoshi. Maegashira 14 brings the duo that occupied maegashira 11 in January, Chiyoshoma and Nishiki Fuji. The concern lies with the Segahama wrestler, who withdrew on day 12 last tournament due to complications involving a cervical disc hernia, thoracic disc hernia, and right elbow osteoarthritis, so his participation is obviously not confirmed. At maegashira 15 we have Midori Fuji, who drops 3 spots after 9 losses, and Mitakeumi, who falls 1 after a simple makekoshi. Maegashira 16 features Asaha Kuryu, who for some reason climbs only 1 position despite a solid debut kachikoshi. Alongside him, Kinbozan suffers an 8 rank drop after finishing 4-11 in January, the steepest fall in Makuuchi. Finally, at maegashira 17, we see 1 new face and 1 return. Fuji Ryoga makes his Makuuchi debut after just 1 year as a professional, an impressive rise you can check out in the video I made about him. Joining him is Koto Eiho, brother of Koto Shouho, who finally returns to the top division after 3 tournaments away. Despite consistently staying near the top of Juryo during that stretch, the JSA took its time promoting him again, so it's good to see him back among the elite. But now that we've talked about who moved up, it's time to mention who moved down. The unlucky ones this time are Ryuden, who went 6 and 9 as maegashira 15, Tomokaze, with a catastrophic 4-11 as maegashira 13, and Hatsuyama, who unfortunately lasted just 1 tournament in Makuuchi, finishing 2 and 13 as maegashira 17. And with that, we officially wrap up the March 2026 Banzuke, with the tournament set to begin on the 8th. So, what did you think of the rankings? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But anyway, that's all for today. So if you enjoyed this video, consider liking it, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications so you don't miss any future content. That's it guys, until next time!